Hey everyone, another quick update on the Martech Stack Builder. We are at version 0.10. I know, I should have probably just made it version 1, but I'm a bit of a perfectionist and I'm slowly processing all the feedback that's coming in and kind of want to start sharing things with you. So let me share some of the new features, which I think are personally, I think they're pretty cool. But again, you are going to be the users mostly. I'm using it with my clients at the moment, but I'd love to hear your feedback. I am getting some feedback from surprisingly a lot of Scandinavian people, which I really appreciate. But let's stop all the banter and get into it. So in front of me right now, I have got a stack loaded. This is a package CDP stack. This is one I actually ran into about 5-6 years ago with a client, and I just wanted to show you guys how the features relate to a stack like this. So on the left hand side, you can see that I've added some nodes as data sources. We've got Redshift, Apache Kafka. OneTrust for governance. We've got your basic SDKs, all flowing data. Some in real time. You can click on these edges and actually add labels to them. Change the color. The default color is always the color of the node that it's coming from. If you hadn't noticed already, that's what it's built on. But you have this optional label here at the bottom right on the canvas on the edge properties panel on the right hand side. You can enter the label there. So let's say the OneTrust is streaming, and then if you click enter, you can see these little labels popping up over the edges, the lines moving from one node to the other. Now you can attach these lines to these group nodes. For the visual, I like it a little bit better going to the node itself. I do like to kind of bundle a lot of these nodes into one. If you do that, when you go to edit table, you will see they actually group together there as well. You can collapse and expand. And then you can kind of move these around as one. We have the central data hub pushing, you've got your real-time data coming in, doing a backup into Redshift. And from there, we have our activation channel here going into iterable, keeping it simple. So iterable is doing the first-party activation. You got advertising for your third-party activation. I've just added some, they had different ones, that the client, but this is all just kind of as an example. So we've got Instagram here, Google Ads, Meta Ads, and if you hadn't noticed already, there's this little thing called multi-lens. I know I touched upon it in a previous video. And you can actually, especially around advertising is quite important. You can kind of set the consent required for that specific node. So in this case, it is marketing and it hashes PII. So if you're talking about Meta Conversion API, you are sending PII, but it's hashed. So you can set these settings in here. Then we can close that. And the reason I'm saying that is because right here, if you go into the multi-lens tab here at the top, you'll get this extra bar where you can kind of start looking at your stack from different levels. And I know I sound like a broken record because I said this in a previous video, but you can look at the kind of the platform information. What kind of tool is it? The kind of what happens with the PII data. So in this case, Redshift stores PII. Kafka just passes through, OneTrust passes through, all these SDKs passes through. But you can see here with Meta Ads or the advertising, it hashes the PII. Analytics doesn't have any PII, and activation stores PII. Now, then we start looking at consent. And this, you might not see it immediately. These little tabs or labels here at the bottom, they'll shift. This one's got functional. Look, you need to kind of decide what works best for you and within your stack, within your kind of the regulations that you've set. These are just kind of examples. They're not written in stone, or set in stone is the phrase. So bear with me a little bit. The extra button you get here is called simulate. So when you click on this one, there are a few things you can do. One is you can actually say, hey, if I'm not giving consent for marketing, what happens with my data? So let's say I decline marketing, and all of a sudden you will see that the data no longer flows into advertising and activation. And again, it is, So if I changed iterable now into functional instead of marketing, because functional in the sense that you have first party data and you might be pushing transactional emails through iterable, I can change that to functional, and then I'll simulate it again and I'll decline marketing. Hold on here. Hold on to your horses. Then and I need to see what I did here. I need to unselect marketing. So if I go into the marketing decline, you can now visualize how this data is flowing through your stack from all these various sources into segment in this case. But you can see that if somebody doesn't give marketing consent, that data should not be flowing into your advertising nodes. It's going into activation and it is going into analytics. So the same with analytics. If analytics blocked, you get the idea here. Now, going back to the data flow here, and I need to make sure that this one remains available here because you can see the different values of the PII data. What is actually happening to your PII data as it's flowing through the through your stack? With this little selector button here, you can actually say, "Hey, what's happening with my PII data?" And you can take a good look at it here. You're collecting PII data from all these various data sources. It's going through your central hub. Oh, by the way, that's a nice feature here. If you, on the right hand side, if you enable central hub, it'll make it a little bit bigger and give it more emphasis within your stack. Thanks again to one of the feedback people for coming up with this idea. I think it's absolutely brilliant. But here you can see the flow of PII data. It will go into your advertising as hashed. It'll go into your activation channel, but you don't need it in analytics, especially Google Analytics 4. They do not like PII data in your property. So this way you can double check to make sure what your kind of regulations are. Again, this doesn't really affect your operational stack, but it's a way to design it and kind of come back to it and see what you can do with it. All right, so now that we have covered that, let me close the multi-lens here. And let's say, and before I kind of continue, I don't want to bash iterable. I love all these tools. But there could be a moment in your company where you say, hey, iterable is just not working for us, or Bloomreach or Customer IO or any kind of solution. Maybe you've got SendGrid on there for your ESP and you're looking for an alternative. And that's kind of what I wanted to take a next step in. So let's say you're in a team meeting. Let me quickly shut off the PII. There we go. Makes it a little bit easier on the eyes. Let's say you're in a team meeting and say, hey, our contract for iterable is ending. We're looking for an alternative. So you click on the node, and there are two ways you can do this. You can click on the node, and you can right click, and you have this new button here that says suggest alternatives. Or you can go into the AI tab, which I've kind of consolidated a lot of these AI features into this new side panel. And as you can see, you can chat about your stack, and it really takes the context of your stack into that chat discussion. You can evaluate, so based on certain business goals, company size. Again, I mentioned this in a previous video, but it's good to kind of remind you guys about this. And here, alternatives not lit up, because if I select it, now you can say, hey, let's find some alternatives for iterable. I'm going to press this, and in the meantime, I'll continue discussion. It usually takes around 25 to 35 seconds. So what actually happens here in the background is we're taking the context of your stack, and we are putting that into an object. We're adding the multi-lens, kind of multi-team. It just has, the lens is, kind of a term to describe the different views that you can take onto your stack to really promote that breaking down of silos, making sure other people get involved into this building process. So we're taking all that metadata from your multi-lens as well. So your consent, your PII data, we're putting in costs, et cetera. And we are pushing that into an AI query with a custom system prompt. I'm looking to refine it in the future. But as you can see, we're getting some tools back here. The best match here is a 92% fit for Braze. But as you can see, as you can read up here, it'll actually say, hey, look, in your stack, iterable fed by segment, which is fed by web mobile, SDKs, Kafka, Redshift batch, etc. So it really tries to consider the alternatives it's returning based on your current stack. And I think that's personally, I think that's pretty cool. So here you can say, hey, Braze, pros and cons. You get a little bit of breakdown. There are two new functions that I put in here. One is propose replacement, which I'll get to here in a second. The other one is compare. So let's say I want to do compare. What it will do is it'll compare iterable with Braze a little bit further. But I can also add another one. So let's say these are all the nodes that you have on the canvas. But you can also explore others that are in the system. So let's put in customer IO here. It's not on the canvas. And what I'm looking for is cost optimization and ease of use. But the biggest priority is ease of use. That's a real world story, because a lot of these marketing teams and companies who are kind of scaling up, they are looking for ease of use with tools. Just a little down to there. And I'll click on compare. Oh, again, we pull in all the data, again, from your stack, all the contextual data. And with the added user context that we just gave about ease of use, cost optimization, we push that into an AI prompt. And this should return kind of a scorecard. And again, it takes about 25 to 30 seconds. So bear with me. This is an animation that I put in place. There's no really feedback on the process. So if you have any tips on how to improve this, that'd be awesome. So the winner here is actually Customer IO with medium confidence. So there is, again, you need to do your due diligence. This is just kind of like a starting off point, but it will break it down into various dimensions. So we got ease of use, feature depth, integration, ecosystem, scalability, and value for money. And again, you have a little bit of a breakdown here. Did integration fit with your stack? It actually says Customer IO has an 84% fit, whereas Braze has a 88% fit. So you can look into these vendor details. You can download this as a PDF. I do have to say, I have a lot of work to do with refining the design of these PDFs. But let's take a step back here. So if we go back, let me click on this one, and that change did not go through. Let me click this one again. What you should have seen at that stage is that if you've done a previous alternative scan, see, it did pick it up, but it was a little bit too late. So it does cache the outcome so that you can quickly refer back to it once you come back. All right, so let's open up this Braze one right here, and then we can have this propose replacement button. Now, again, this is another attempt to breaking down the silos between teams. The biggest problem I've always been seeing is marketing, data engineering, IT, God, you name it, privacy, all these various teams, growth teams, list goes on. They're not talking to each other. And what I wanted to do, and before I do this proposed replacement, I need to do one extra step. But before, the proposed replacement will actually kind of open up that discussion for you, saying, "Hey, we may have an alternative," and this can be a change request. Can be let's actually jump into that. So let's do proposed change, and as you can see, you can kind of go through this process and needs a little bit of a refinement. But one thing I am noticing is a little bug, which I can actually jump into here. So in your team, the proposal feature is actually only in the team plan. So you go into Team Hub here, and you could do what's called Manage Departments. So in this, I can say, hey, we've got a marketing department. We have a data engineer. I'm going to keep it simple for now. A data engineering department. And let's say we have a legal loves purple, I guess. All right. And for each of these departments, you can assign a lead. So in this case, I've got two accounts, and I should have named them differently, but I can add a kind of a department leader. So I'll add this one as a leader. There you go. And then I'm also the data engineering lead, but that's my other account. So I'll add it here. So now you can go ahead and legal. I don't know anything about legal. You're not getting any legal advice from me anyway. So you can add leaders to this. And as you can see, there's 0 tools. Now, the reason for that is if we go back to multi-lens to the edit table, there's a shortcut right here. You just click on edit table. Now you can see this department here. So now I can say, hey, amplitude. Oh, that's a good one, by the way. Let's do that one. Analytics team. Oh, Google Analytics, orange. I'll assign myself to that team too. Lead, add member, and let's close that one. All right, so we've got Amplitude, that is analytics team. We got Android, we'll do that data engineering. Kafka, Google Ads, that is marketing, Instagram marketing, iOS. No, yeah, the SDKs, data engineering. Sorry guys for all of this. That's marketing, data engineering, and I'll show you why this is pretty cool as we move forward. Just a few more to go. That is legal. Redshift is data engineering. Redshift is data engineering, and segment. We'll put that to marketing. That's a whole other discussion, but I'll leave that for now. So we have saved all the teams now. Let's also add some costs here. If you guys have some information about these pricing, I'm just going to put in here $900 a month. Iterable, let's put that at $1,200. It's not a big company. OneTrust is probably around let's put in $250 a month. Redshift is they had a Black Friday sale on $400 a month. And then segment, let's say you're on the starter plan. I think that's like 100. Let's be honest here. Let's do 300 a month. All right. So we've got all this information right here. And as you can see now, this side panel is now being populated with your departments, the number of tools that they manage, that they own, and you've got a breakdown of your cost here. This cost effect is also pretty cool. If you go back to your multi-lens and you go to the cost, you can actually see a breakdown. And I need to move this little dot here when this is up. But you have this little breakdown of the costs for each team and the number of tools. So again, just a lot of information that should open kind of that discussion. This should break down those barriers and say, hey, we need to talk about this. And now you can do that visually. All right. So let me save it in the meantime. Now that we have this set up, now we can go into proposals. And with proposals, let me take the easy route here. See, it's gone again. That is something I need to fix. So it should, all right, see, the stack has changed since. I won't rerun it because all we did was add departments. I'll click down into this braze and I'll do propose replacement. Now it will pre-fill all the information into this create proposal. Replace iterable with braze. Then you have this kind of change type. Again, this is more than just for changes. You can do the modify the integration. You can remove the tool, add tool, replace tool, etc. And it will have chosen iterable from the affected tools in your list. Now, since marketing owns iterable in this case, it'll say affected departments, but you might need required approvals. So let's go into all departments because data engineering might need to set up the connection between segment and iterable. The legal might need to look into, hey, what are the legal impacts of this change? And then you can do submit for review immediately. So now we create the proposal. Voila, you get this little overview right here with the number of approvals in progress. Again, this part is work in progress. I really need to find a way to really open up that discussion further within the app about this change. I'm thinking about integrations with project management tools that you kind of push this into. God, what are these tools? I haven't used them in so long. Anyway, you can export them easily for integration into kind of, into your nodes or your Atlassians, etc. You've got the approval. So in this case, I need to give approval because I'm a marketing owner. Actually, all the leads need to do this. And you can do that here. We've got a timeline when the proposal was created because nothing ruins great plans with projects being stalled. And now with this timeline, you can actually audit saying, hey, we did propose this, but you didn't respond. And then we've got the integration or implementation. And here, this is also linked to the other AI feature that I have about generating kind of a proposal implementation roadmap. You can do the same thing here. I won't do it because, like I said, it takes a lot of time. But this will kind of generate a step-by-step plan. And this is also something that I want to be able to integrate into project management solutions. Jira, that's the one I was looking for. Thank you. I don't know who said it, but thank you anyway. So that pushes that into there. And when we go back into here, you can see that I've received a message saying in the team hub that there is something for the proposals. And you can see that I have the proposal here that pending approval. So I can click on it. And again, I see the whole thing here. And I'm seeing that the abstain approval is not here. So we've got the timeline and then implementation. So you've got everything centralized. So I might move this one away here. Again, your feedback would be absolutely amazing. Okay, and then looking back at the Team Hub, this is something still work in progress, but I'd love to get your feedback on what you're actually expecting here. I am setting up notification channels. In this case, I have set up a webhook to my N8N. And from there, I can push it into email. I can push it into a Slack channel, et cetera. It gives me a little bit more control. But I can also add channels. So we've got Slack now. It's not the official integration. You'll need to work with the webhook that Slack will give you. But then you can, on these different events, you can actually push messages into Slack, be it a group channel, be it your private channel, whatever, that you can take action on. Do be aware that the notifications can only be set by the owner, and it does affect the team workspace. So in this case, client X, yeah, just keep that in mind. All right, let me close this one. And that about wraps it up. I've got you can manage your members here. The team plan's up and running now. If you were in the beta, you get to keep your team plan as is for now. If you are willing and able to do a lot of testing in the team plan, reach out to me. I'm giving away free team plans for feedback. Not sure how long they will last, but this has been a great journey for me right now. And from the feedback that I've been getting lately, that is absolutely awesome. I'm learning things all the time. And in other cases, you'll see this whole billing area here if you do want to sign up. So I'm really hoping that this catches on in the community, and it really helps you start visualizing your Martech marketing technology stacks, et cetera. So thanks again for watching. This is version 0.10. I do feel that with enough feedback on this one, I will definitely be going to version 1. I'm really looking forward to that. I hope you guys will continue the journey with me. See you guys later. Bye.